Well, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Investigators in Cars Drinking Coffee. I'm your
Good
host.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm your host, Mark Bernan, president of Complete Legal Investigations, and I am once again joined by my attractive, devastatingly beautiful partner,
Well, thank you.
Wendy Strom Bernan, licensed private investigator, certified paralegal. And Wendy, we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, a real hot topic. People just be fascinated by it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yes, PIs and report writing. I know your favorite thing, and so mine too.
I love writing reports.
I actually do too.
Yeah,
I actually do. I think every private investigator is a frustrated novelist.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're going to talk about report writing, and we're going to give some examples of some really bad report writing. And so, what is the purpose of writing a report?
The purpose of writing a report is to let your client know what investigation you did.
Yeah, what we actually did.
And it puts it in writing, so it clarifies exactly what happened in writing.
Yeah.
And it is proof that you did your investigation.
Yeah. It's the only evidence that you actually did the work.
Exactly.
If it's not written down, it didn't happen.
Exactly.
I remember learning that the hard way when a lawyer burned me for not writing down a report, and so I wrote down everything after that.
Yeah.
And really, it doesn't matter whether you're constructing a formal investigative report or simply an email. There are some basic rules of writing.
What do you think about email reports?
They have their place.
Okay.
They have their place.
What's their place?
If you just want to do something shorthand, but it should still be in the form of an investigative report, which means it should still follow the rules of grammar, syntax, punctuation, which is some of what we're going to get into now.
Those are really foreign ideas in the world of technology today.
Oh my gosh,
how much can we shorten a word? How can we slang the word? How can we, combine two words? How can we, so it's really in the punctuation. When you text, you don't use punctuation. I used to put the punctuation in my, text.
I still do.
I realize, it's gone by the wayside.
But unfortunately, what's happened as a result of that is we've lost clarity. And so now, when you're working for attorneys, and since we work for attorneys, it became especially important, we need to have clarity. Investigative reports should have clarity because we're reporting facts. We're reporting information provided by witnesses, observation, and it has to be articulated clearly.
And that's another important thing that I learned as an investigator.
Yes.
Well, what do you put in reports? Your opinion or the facts?
You put in the facts.
Oh, okay.
You put in the facts.
I used to like to put in, well, it appeared that to me, that kind of stuff.
No, we don't. You can put that into an email supplement, but you would just report what they wrote.
Yeah.
All right, let me do this. I'm going to read you two sentences here that came from. I hate to say it, the first one came from one of our investigative reports years ago.
Must have been yours.
Careful, must have been. Listen to this. The subject vehicle, a white Toyota four-door, entered the plaza, parked, and went into the grocery store. Now, what went into the grocery store based on this sentence?
The Toyota four-door.
Apparently so. Apparently the errant spouse was a late model Japanese import.
Yeah, there's a phrase missing there.
There's a phrase missing in there. The subject vehicle, a white Toyota four-door, entered the plaza, parked, and went into the grocery store.
Oops.
It's nonsensical.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It lacks clarity. And grammar is the science of structuring a sentence so that it makes sense. It is the science of structuring a sentence so that it makes sense. This sentence here does not make sense.
Didn't know this was going to be an English lesson, right?
Yeah, I know. But you know what? We work in this. It doesn't matter what language you're using.
We work in the world of words.
That's right. All right, here's the second one. This is my favorite. This came from a police report. I observed that there was 3 holes in the black T-shirt, which was located on the back side. I observed that there was.
That's a police report.
I know.
You want to get a good laugh.
Get a bunch of police reports. I observed that there was 3 holes in the black T-shirt, which was located on the back side.
Okay.
On the back side of what? Of the corpse? Of a chair? The sentence doesn't make sense. And that's because the officer or the detective writing it didn't take the time to structure the sentence, did not understand the grammatical rules of structuring a sentence so that it would make sense.
Right.
If a prosecutor reads this, you've got the wrong verb tense, you've got confusion as to the location of the shirt and even who the victim is. So those are some of it. So number one, I'm going to give you 3 takeaways here. You ready? Number 1, learn grammar and punctuation. What's the difference between a colon and a semicolon?
One has a dot.
The other has a comma. But a colon and a semicolon have different functions. And what I want to do is I want to share with you just some elements here.
You kind of overuse the semicolon.
I do, and
saying.
I'm prone to this.
Yeah.
Wendy does a lot of my editing, and I'm prone to commas, run-on sentences.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she looks at the reports, they're much better having her look at them because she's able to make some corrections, some editing that just simply needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I've got two little recommendations for you. Number one, The Elements of Style by Strunk and White.
That was from my certification.
Yeah,
exam.
from the NALA, from the paralegal certification.
Yeah.
This is an incredible book because it discusses how to structure a sentence. And it really is immensely useful. Where does a comma belong? How to use the active voice, the proper use of quotations. What is a bad word? Did you know that irregardless is not a word?
I did.
Yes, so did I. It's one of my favorite.
And you never
pet
say
peeves.
in regard to.
No, you say regarding.
With regard to.
With regard to, not in regard. Should of or should have?
Should have.
Absolutely. Should of makes no sense. Should have reflects the proper use of the verb have. All right, number two, how to write a narrative investigative report. A narrative investigation report. This is by William Dienstein. You can find this on the Charles C. Thomas. This is a classic from 1975, late 60s, early 70s. I got this for my certification.
And we are nerding out here.
We are
today.
nerd. This is serious nerd stuff right here. But you know what? When you write clearly, lawyers can read it, they understand it, and they will call you back.
Yes, it's super important.
And they do, because they have confidence that you're able to communicate clearly. Reports that with sentences like the subject vehicle, a white Toyota four-door, entered the plaza, parked, and went into the grocery store. What cross-examination of an investigator is that going to show?
Yeah.
It's inarticulate.
And if you're working for attorneys, a lot of them are sticklers about this.
Yeah.
And they'll correct us. So, you know, and most of us are working for lawyers.
Yeah, a lot of us are working
They're
for lawyers.
well educated. They know their grammar. They know their punctuation.
Yeah, or you should, if you're not working for lawyers.
In their eyes, it's a reflection of your intelligence, almost.
Of your ability, of
your
your capabilities, of your professionalism.
Yeah.
Bad writing equals non-professionalism.
Okay.
Just make that quote. Learn grammar and punctuation. Number two, know the difference between there, and there. Oh, that's tough. Here, let me give you a sentence.
There.
There, and there. Let me give you a sentence. Their car is not there. They're going to walk.
Oh, pronouns.
Their car is not there. They're going to walk. What are the different forms of there, and there? Well, the first one is a possessive pronoun used as an attributive adjective. Their car, T-H-E-I-R. Their car is not there. There functioning as an adverb. It is not where, it's not there. It's location. And finally, they're going to walk is a contraction. They are going to walk. But how many times have you and I seen reports where there, T-H-E-Y-R-E, is where they're living? They're living there. They are. So these are all...
Mostly police reports.
Mostly police reports. I'd say that. FBI reports.
I have way more faith in our fellow investigators that they know that.
I hope so. I hope so. And the third thing is this. That's number one. Number one, learn grammar and punctuation. Number two, know the difference between there, and there. And number three, discover your point of view. What's point of view?
Well, it says first person or third person.
That's right.
Yeah.
Are you writing your reports in the third person or writing in the first person?
Usually in the first person. We have had a client that liked third person.
Yeah. And it depends. It depends when you're writing. You read a lot of reports. The investigator went to such and such an address and interviewed the resident. I personally prefer I write in the first person. I went to the address and interviewed the witness.
I do what he does.
The witness told me. A lot of times you can write in the third person.
Yes.
But oftentimes when you're relating what you personally have experienced or what you've observed or what a witness told you, I write in the first person. And those are just matters of form, but be consistent with it. In other words, don't switch from third person to first person. These are all very helpful ways to make your report functional. It's clear. Our goal is to be clear. Our goal is clarity.
One thing we changed about our reports that we've realized, so we used to send narrative reports and it was all paragraph form. And our reports are long many times, so we started using bullet points.
Yeah.
And dividing the topics by subject, and then using the bullet point, that little O, and just breaking it down very simply so it was easier for the lawyer to read, so when they looked at it they weren't totally overwhelmed with
Correct.
whoa.
Yeah, that's
like
a lot
reading
of
book.
narrative to go through.
Yeah, so that worked beautifully.
We learned that from Gene Ferraro, a very capable investigator who does a lot of internal investigations, and he wrote a great narrative report. We learned that at a conference in San Diego. But that was a very helpful way to kind of break it down, and then the attorney simply highlights the specific bullet points. It's easier for them to read. So clarity and simplicity is our objective. Grammar and syntax, punctuation, knowing the difference between there, and there, as an example, because there are others, and finally discovering your point of view. Will you write in the first person or the third person, and knowing what the difference is. So anyway, it's a bit longer, but I thought that'll do it for today. But today's subject, we're going to close out here with the cool coasters. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? And we want to thank Scott Fulmer at Intermountain PI for the podcast that he did with us last week.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun to do that as well. So we're sending a couple of these to Scott, and we're happy to send these to any new subscribers. If you subscribe and just email us or send a comment of a mailing address for you, we will stick these in the mail to you, get them while they're hot. We will be speaking at the Florida Association of Licensed Investigators in May on the subject of marketing to civil plaintiff attorneys and how to find former employees. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to throw in there on the reports?
Well, the only thing is we were at a seminar and they asked a lawyer, what is your pet peeve about investigative reports? And he said it was the run-along sentence.
The run-on sentence.
Run-on sentence that never ends. So I try to use a lot of periods, break it down. That's another, it just makes it more readable. And he said that just drove him crazy. So that was an eye-opener too.
That was very helpful. When people who are in a position to be reading your reports tell you what they're looking for, you need to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below. Send us your mailing information. We'll send you a couple of coasters, and we will see you next time on Investigators.
And it's cold here
in Florida.
It's cold here in Florida.
Yay.
We have sweaters on.
It plummeted. It plummeted down to the 60s.
We have a wind chill advisory, so
we're going to enjoy it while we can.
Yeah.
Anyway, see you next time on Investigators in Cars Drinking Coffee.
Bye-bye now.